In this video series, we're giving you guys the most comprehensive and most practical guide for college students, because after I done my research, I realized that there are still a lot of things to be covered. In this series, we're not going to talk about how to get a girlfriend or how to party. We stick to the basic, we stick to the things that are related to our everyday life, and we have 5 main categories that we need to cover: your food, your dorm life/housing, your shopping, your education, and your entertainment. And today in this topic, we're talking about everything that relates to your food. So first of all, every day you gotta choose between eating at a restaurant or cook your own meal. And eating at a restaurant can also separate into eating at your student restaurant or just eating at a restaurant that is off campus. Personally, I recommend cooking your own meal, but right now, let's start it from the other two. So eating at a student restaurant in your campus is more an ideal choice compared to eating at a regular restaurant that is off campus. Usually it's cheaper compared to the restaurant outside, and also you can save a lot of time and energy on transportations. Sometimes it might be harder to control the macros, but if you have any kind of self-serving restaurants or any kind of place that you can pick your own side dish, it will be an ideal choice. But eating at your student restaurant can be tedious over time because your option is so limited. And on the other hand, eating at a restaurant outside is pretty fun. You have a lot of options to choose. And right now we have a lot of healthy meals out there. But it's definitely gonna be way more expensive compared to the student restaurant. My tip on eating at a restaurant, whether it's a student restaurant or just regular restaurant outside, I will avoid any highly processed food, any high fat or high sugar thing. Because eating out at a restaurant is already very easy to consume extra fat, and those options will make the overall condition even worse. And on top of that, for me, after finishing at a high fat or high sugar meal, I just cannot focus and really easy to fall asleep. So for example, I will avoid anything that is fried or any sweet drinks because they always have a lot of sugar in it. And if you have any convenience store in your campus that sells you those frozen microwave meal, I will personally save those frozen meals for a emergency time. And I don't really eat those things on a regular basis. And I don't know why I feel like it's easier to get hungry if I eat those frozen food as a meal. And if you are using any calorie trackers like MyFitnessPal, which I highly recommend you do, my recommended strategy is finish your carbs and fats, especially fats when you are eating outside, and trying to meet your proteins and fibers and fruits when you are at home, because those things can be harder to find and extra expensive on the menu. If you are only eating one meal outside per day, don't be too worried about your overall macros. I think anything between 30 to 50% of your daily fat consumption goal from that meal is considered to be normal. And if it's 2 meals outside per day, I'm making sure that my third meal is very high on protein, high on fiber, and low on fat. With the carb source, that is easy to adjust the portion. Something like rice or orzo or spaghetti are all great choice. Just remember, you can always adjust your other meals to achieve your overall daily goal. And the method I just mentioned is also suitable for those people who don't want to use a calorie tracker. Just pay attention and understand what you eat and adjust throughout your day. And if you really want to understand more about macros and food, I have a video from Jeff Nipper. I'll put a link down in the description. So another option, which is also the one that I personally recommend you trying, is cook your own meal. And cooking your own meal doesn't mean meal prep. You can always cook a fresh meal every single day. But if you are the type of person that you can eat the same thing every day, or you just want efficiency over everything, I think meal prep is worth considering. And the best thing about cooking your own meal is you have full control on your budget. You can go extra premium and eat those expensive ingredients every single day. Or you can go cooking on a budget, something like a Fitness OG Holy Trinity, chicken, broccoli, and rice. Also, you have full control on the macros and the ingredients. You can choose whatever stuff you want to eat at a grocery haul. And the most important part on cooking your own meal is it's definitely healthy, if not healthier, compared to eating at a restaurant outside. Recently, we have tons of food poison and restaurant hygiene problem here in Taiwan. And I feel pretty safe because most of the time I cook my own meals at home. So that is another huge advantage when you are cooking your own meal. But obviously the downside of cooking is you have to do shopping, you have to do all the preparations, you have to cook your own meal. And unless you are blessed with dishwashing machine, you have to wash everything. And as a guy that is 10 to 15 centimeters taller than the average, washing those dishes at the kitchen is a real pain for me. By the way, after I sharing my tips, I'm gonna share with you my favorite food of choice on each meal. But for now, my tips on cooking. Number 1, focusing on healthy and unprocessed food. Focusing on healthy and unprocessed food and have 2 to 3 options in each category for rotation. And for protein, despite the protein powder, any kind of lean meats are really good. And you will see a lot of people recommend chicken breast, but I think chicken thigh is also a great choice. It's just a bit higher on fat, but overall tastes a lot better. And tuna and salmon is also a very common choice, but be careful with tuna because you don't want to get mercury poison. Edamame, also lentils, tofu, and eggs are all great choice, but I personally cannot eat tofu because it will causing me bloating. If you are someone that is also suffering from this, you might want to try to avoid tofu. And for your carbs, whole grain is definitely better, something like brown rice, but I think normal white rice is fine. And it also just tastes totally different. Orzo is another great choice. Tortillas for those people who love to wrap everything together. And also bagel is another great choice because it's very satiating and you cannot really go wrong with bagel. And finally, oats is another great choice and it's also very high on fiber. And for fats, I personally use olive oil on pretty much everything, and occasionally I will cook with butter, and sometimes if I'm cooking with chicken thighs, I will just avoid adding any extra oil in the pan and cooking with the oil can with the skin. And other great source of fat includes obviously avocado, any kind of nuts, and for your fruits, frozen berries and frozen bananas, and also guavas and apples. They are so easy to find and really hard to go wrong and really easy to storage. And finally, vegetables are really down to personal preference. But if you are on a budget or you don't have that much time and energy to slice up and clean up your vegetables, I think frozen vegetable mix is a really great choice. They are equally nutritious and so easy to storage and relatively cheap. And by the way, don't forget to stack up your seasonings and sauce throughout your time. It's really crucial adding extra flavors into your food. No one should ever eat plain white rice, boiled chicken breast, and broccoli. If you want to know more about seasoning and why you should add flavor to your food, you might want to check out this video from Quark, and links is also in the description. Another tips for cooking is trying to cook one pan meal. It's very self-explanatory. One pan meal is basically you put everything inside one pan, so you don't have to clean up tons of plates after you're done. And also batch cooking is something that you might want to consider. I personally think cook the portion for 2 to 3 person at once is better compared to cook the portion for 5 person. You can cook your dinner and you have extra 1 to 2 meals the next day. And you won't be suffer from eating the same thing throughout your week. You can always change that after a day and you don't have to worry about the food sitting inside your fridge. And if you want any food ideas, I recommend Joshua Westman and Joe Delaney. They all have really great cooking videos.
Joe Delaney is my hero!
For breakfast, if I'm getting it from the cafeteria outside, I will usually choose the whole grain bagel or sandwiches. And at home, I really love oatmeal mixing with protein powder and topping with frozen berries. It tastes really good and it's so easy to prepare. Also, you can have so much flavor using your protein powder. And occasionally, I would add some Greek yogurt to it to add some extra texture and flavor. Another option is turn them into a smoothie. It's even faster and it just tastes as good as mixing them together directly with water. Another choice is scrambled egg with bagel, but that one is less common choice. The ideal lunch for me is probably egg fried rice if I'm staying at home or bring my lunch to school. It's so easy to prepare and so easy to carry around. You don't have to worry about the sauce mixing everything together inside your box. And also the flavor is pretty much stay the same after you put it into the fridge. Also, this one chicken noodle recipe from Joe Delaney is another my go-to choice. It's again so easy to prepare and really good on overall nutrition. And the third choice, if I have to go out, other than get some healthy meal box, Subways and McDonald's are pretty much my go-to choice. Subways because they have a lot of vegetable in it and it's very quick. And you might be wondering, isn't McDonald's a bad choice considering that it has a lot of processed food? For me, McDonald's is always the B tier. It's always in the middle, but it won't be the worst choice. I always get rid of the sauce and stick to grilled chicken. So the sodium intake and the fat intake is significantly lower than the, let's say, quarter-pound cheeseburger. And for dinner, I've been eating pretty much the same thing for I don't know how long, just spaghettis and chicken breast and sauce, and nothing really too exciting here. But occasionally I will switch to rice and chicken breast or chicken thighs. And recently I have another thing called orzo join my rotation. It's like a mix of pasta and rice, very easy to prepare and very easy to cook. And definitely check that out if you don't know what orzo is. And finally, for snacks, I don't really love eating any sweet things, so all I have is pretty much just protein shakes and maybe frozen berries. And recently I discovered that mixing coffee or tea with unflavored protein powder is actually a great choice, so you guys might want to check that out by yourself as well. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope this video is helpful. Stay tuned for more college tips video, and if you want to see my other videos, I'm gonna put a link right here. Leave a comment down below what's your favorite food or what's your favorite tips. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.